Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's Jacques. Look at my new shirt. I love it. It's a local designer. I'll actually put a picture right here of exactly what it looks like. I really like this shirt. I have a few of them just like that, and I thought, why not have it in the video showing my support for Mexico and Mexican designers. So pretty sure you guys are like, why are we here? What's this video about? As you can see by the title, this is going to be a video about a few things that you probably didn't know about Mexico, or that, let's just say, for instance, Americans, what we've been told about Mexico and what I've found to be true, or what I've observed from certain things that I've actually experienced. Okay, so let's get right into it. So number one would have to be that one, everybody probably knows geography, that North America and Mexico, basically it's the Americas instead of North America, then Mexico and everything. It's the Americas. For a long time, I think that I was told, based off things in school, propaganda on the news in America, the way that it's always this big fight about immigrants and things like that, Mexican immigrants coming into America, you're always told that Mexico is like this horrible place, right? And I think with any country, again, you've heard me say in other videos, I've lived in Barcelona, I've lived in London, but I've also visited so many places. Like, I've pretty much done all of England, you know, from Scotland to Birmingham to Manchester to Brighton to Cornwall. I've done, you know, I think it's called Brackenshire. I did the is it Seven Sisters? I did that's Eastbourne. I've done so many things, and in all these places, you know, I was warned when I moved to London, oh my God, you know, London they're super racist, and people are going to stab you, and people are going to do this, and people are going to do that. And I found none of that to be true. Was it happening? Yes. Did I see it on the news? Yes. Was it as frequent as people said to you that it was going to happen? No. I never personally saw anybody have a fight, never saw anybody personally get stabbed. You heard about robberies and things like that, but it wasn't where I stayed. It was far out, you know, some other city, some other like suburb of London or a suburb of Brighton that I wasn't even not privy to, but I had no interest in going there. So when it comes to Mexico, you hear, I recently had a friend come, and the first thing she said when she got here was, I'm going to share my location, and, you know, I want to make sure I'm safe and things like that. And for me, at that time, I had been living here for 5-6 months. So for me, it threw my brain for a loop, because I'm like, what are you afraid of? What's the issues? And outside of her just being a woman, I think there was a fear that Mexican people were going to hurt her, or Mexican people are dangerous in some type of way. And it could have been the furthest thing from the truth, in my opinion. I have never felt in danger. I have walked home late. I have never felt that someone was going to try to rob me, or someone was going to try to do something to me. Have I been told by Mexican people certain places not to go to? Not because I'm black, not because I'm American, not because I'm an immigrant, and none of that. Just because they're like, I wouldn't go there. Don't go there. Like, after a certain time, if you go there, make sure you catch an Uber there. Make sure when you leave out, you catch your Uber back. So that was one. The whole danger aspect of Mexico being so dangerous. I literally took a road trip. You guys saw in the Estacas Tepoztlán video. Never felt weird. Got out the car, gas stations, things like that. Never felt. And again, maybe I'm just living freely, and, you know, I think certain things won't happen to me. But I don't think that. I think Mexican people are absolutely amazing, and I think they truly really are have hospitality. They love being so nice. It's always buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Always. Okay. Another thing that I've seen would have to be the infrastructures. You know, Mexico is much older than the United States. And I've seen a lot of what has been taken away from Mexico that's been implemented in America. A lot of things, from infrastructure to the streets, to what, not just the streets itself, but how they're made, how they're doing certain things. And these were all older things. When you see the architecture and how old some of the architecture is, you understand just how beautiful this country is. And I've always said just how beautiful this country is, because from what I've always experienced and always said, we always know about the Puerto Vallartas, the Cazameles, the Cabo San Lucas, the beaches. We never think about the cities. We never think about anything like that. But we've always been told this is a terrible place. And I'm here to tell you guys, this is the furthest thing from the truth. The furthest thing from the truth. They are so fucking nice to me all the time. I can't even express how warm it makes me feel to be amongst them. And I can see some of the reservations. You know, I think a lot of people don't understand that Mexican people sometimes do have reservations for Americans or Europeans coming into their country. And I do say it's their country, because everybody else tries to treat them very bad, and I never understand that portion. The next thing I want to get on was something that I didn't know. And I think it's Aztec or I think it's called Meso-Mexican or something. If I'm wrong, I think I'm wrong about that, but they have always identified a third gender. And I've come to realize this in Native American culture, Mexican or Aztec, I think it's Aztec, and Meso something. More of the indigenous people have always identified or recognized a third sex. So which warmed my heart, because it's almost, you see these battles about transgender, you see these battles about people being gay, and Mexico is one of the most loving places that I have actually come in contact with. And I didn't know that they actually passed gay marriage first, before America, not first, but before America passed gay marriage, Mexico did, which just says a lot about the government. It says a lot about the culture. I have never been on a day out, you know, hugging, showing affection in public, and someone has said something either homophobic or downright just rude. You know, that it's always much respect. It's always let me mind my business, you do you, I do me. And that's always been very, very warming for my heart. Another thing that you probably don't know is, I think I've said it in a video before, they do have earthquakes here in Mexico City, which I did not know until I experienced my first one or my first two. And I was kind of thrown back about like earthquakes. I'm not from the West Coast, so I've never experienced earthquakes, so it wasn't a thing for me. It just kind of makes you feel loopy, like what's going on, what's really happening. But it's an experience within itself. And I must say that even though the people tell me they're always terrified, they're always very scared of the earthquakes themselves, it's very telling of the people themselves, because they're always very nurturing when it comes to everybody. Especially if they think that you're new, they're going to ask you, are you okay, and how do you feel? And it's always really, 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 really warming. Now, something that I did know, because I was always told like the Grand Canyon was the Grand Canyon. Mexico has a Grand Canyon that is actually 10 times bigger or 12 times bigger than the one in America. And I'm going to take you guys on that trip with me to actually see this, because it's something that I have to see for myself. And it's a lot of different beautiful monuments, museums, I've always said that. And it's just things that you just want to break down the stereotypes of what you've been told. And I feel like I'm a vessel to kind of tell you all, this is what's been told and this is wrong. Another thing, they are not homophobic. And I know we just talked about trans, but I want to talk about homophobia, because America is very homophobic, even in the cities that are, you know, gay friendly. America is very homophobic. Mexico is not. And I've learned that's just in Latin Latin culture itself. Like, they're not, I mean, I'm sure it happens. I'm not in the culture. But I've always felt so welcomed. You know, and I've always said to myself, this is a little joke, but I've always said I can't tell if Latin men are gay or straight. You know, not because of their mannerisms. They're just very sensual type of men. The women are very sensual. They're all very, very sensual. And I've met more bi men and women that are Latin than I've ever met in any other culture. And it's very telling of how integrated and how welcoming and how accepting they are as a community, that in other communities, especially in the African American community, it's very difficult to have bisexuality. And I'm not a bi man, but I do have friends and people that have expressed that feel that they just can't be that way. And that really makes me feel good that they actually do that. Next would be their love for dogs. I live in Mexico City again. If you guys don't know, there are so many dogs in this city. They have more dogs, I believe, than children. Like, they have to have more dogs than children. And I'm not saying strays of probably what you've seen on videos. I'm talking people having 2, 3, sometimes 4 dogs, and they love their dogs, and all of them are so well behaved. There's a girl on Instagram that I follow, the girl who speaks dog, that came here, that said she had never seen so many well-mannered dogs. And I must say, any place outside of America, for me, has had well-behaved dogs. No leashes or leads, depending on where you at. And it's always so warming to see that and actually to witness that. They just have a lot of dogs, and it's always something that I have to tell myself to remember, because I always like, oh my God, but it's a very clean city, and that's something that I didn't expect because it's Mexico, but didn't expect because there's so many dogs. I was like, how do they keep this city so clean with so many dogs? And so many people have dogs, but everyone that I've seen pick up after their dogs. You have your one or few or two that like everybody else, but it's definitely something that I actually enjoy. Lastly, they do not treat my black ass no type of way. They make me feel so welcome. Is it a little weird sometimes when they stare? Absolutely. But I think in Mexico City, there's not a lot of black people. I did see a little small black community like in San Rafael. But I don't know if they were either homeless or what, but it just didn't make sense. But I did see a lot of black people in San Rafael. But I have definitely been asked to take pictures with. I've been asked to, or people just kind of like look at me like, and I'm used to it. I lived in Spain, so that's something that I'm just used to. So I'm gonna make a part 2 of this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I just wanted to give you guys a little tidbit, of what I actually feel, and I wanted to break down some of those stereotypes. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you beautiful people soon. Adios.